we began celebrating the girl child internationally. This started in 2012, and that was the first day that the girl child was declared by the United Nations. And since then, we've been observing that day as the International Day of the Girl Child. We all know that, or maybe some persons might not even know, but for some of us that have been working in the field, we could say that girls are very much at a disadvantage, and they don't enjoy so much of their fundamental human rights. And so ever since 2012, we've been celebrating the girl child. And for this year, the theme for 2021 was digital generation, our generation. And today, what we are calling for this year is calling for equal access to the internet and digital services for girls, and targeted investment to facilitate opportunity for girls to safely and meaningfully access, use, lead, and design technology. So that's what the call for 2021 is. And so for this live session, we will be hosting Fame Foundation, who has been doing a lot of work around girls and women. And while we wait for them to join the session, I'll just be doing a bit of data and information, just to enlighten us the more. Okay, welcome. Hi Hannah.
Hello.
Good to have you here. Hannah is from Fame Foundation, and Clean Technology Hub is hosting them today so that we could have more insight. We could also discuss and take this, see what we can take from this discussion moving forward. So I was just saying that according to OECD in 2018, there was a statistics that says that almost 50% of the world's population is still offline, and very much so women and girls are least likely to even have access to technology. And so out of the 50% that is offline, the more disadvantaged ones here are the women and girls. And aside from that, in some part of the world, there are like up to 70% of women and girls that do not have mobile devices. I do remember that I had my mobile phone in my first year in the university. Perhaps because I was a girl, because I could remember that my brother had his earlier than mine. So I want to assume that this happens to a lot, and this is for a family that they are not so poor, they are relatively okay. So we could say that even for the less disadvantaged one, I think that the challenges would even be more severe. And so they don't have access to mobile phones, neither do they have digital literacy. And also, not all students also can continue their education online. We all know that 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic struck, and the whole world became really mobile, and there was a lot of tech going on. And so if they can access internet, if they can afford to own a mobile phone, and if they can even access mobile phone because they are girls, how much more so? How would they be able to continue their education and all that? And so looking at it from a universal perspective and bringing it down to Nigeria, because that's where we are in, how then can we look into these issues, and how can we see what is going on? How can we do more? What have we been doing to ensure that the girl child is also inclusive, especially with respect to the digital literacy? I'd like to welcome you again, Hannah. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I believe you want to say a word or two, just give us a bit introduction about yourself, what you do at Fame Foundation, and just a bit about Fame Foundation, because we're still going to be talking more about Fame Foundation later on. But just tell us a bit about you and what you do.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me clearly.
Can you
hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay, thank you. My name is Anna Mambula, and I'm the program manager of Fame Foundation. My colleagues and I can't say just me. We organize, and I facilitate and also organize and manage all the programs in the organization. aligned with organizations' goals and objectives. So our Film Foundation, we are a non-profit gender-based organization where we advocate, as our name stands, we advocate, we educate, and we also mentor and stand for the rights of women and girls, especially those in grassroots communities and underprivileged communities also.
Wow, very interesting to know. I see some of your programs, and could you just tell us a bit about some of these initiatives that I saw a particular program that kind of, got my attention. I saw one Obirin. I'm not quite sure what that program is about. Could you just give us a bit more insight into what's that Obirin program? Yes.
Okay. Obirin is mainly it's an online program. As the name stands, it's a Yoruba word that stands for woman. So what we do there is we showcase and highlight stories of women, regardless of their status, where they are around the world, and women are making incredible impact around the world. So Obirin is an online platform to showcase those stories, and then stories that are not heard by people. It doesn't have to be we don't only have to highlight the stories of Okonjo Iweala because she has gone around. There's a woman in a grassroots community. There's a mother who is catering for her children, a single mother. So that platform it's just to celebrate women and also highlight what they've been doing, the challenges they've been able to overcome, and also share their stories basically for other women to also learn and gain experience from.
I think this is quite inspiring, showcasing women, showcasing girls, what they are doing for the world to see, and then putting them out there, because from our own understanding and from our from what we've seen as well, we've seen that there are a lot of women that are out there doing a lot of things. We've seen girls as well doing, so many things out there, and then it's really good to know that you're positioning yourself to be able to put some of and showcase some of these works that they do out there. Okay, just getting right on to some things. We could just ask you a few questions, just give us more insight into what you think should be going forward. Do you think the girl child is well positioned to really thrive in this digital era?
If I was going to give an answer in summary, no. But to expansion further, girls are disadvantaged and are not enjoying their fundamental human rights, of which education is one of them. In Nigeria and other developing countries, the formal education system is the place where every girl child can have access to education, and which digital literacy and information is also part of education. But millions of girls are not enrolled in school. Some of them are dropped out because of poverty, early marriage, pregnancy, and so on. So other gender related vices, and they have little hope of being part of the digital generation. The COVID-19 pandemic, which we are still in the second year, has accelerated digital platforms for learning, earning, and connecting with people. Well, but it has also highlighted the digital gender gap in which is experienced. It has increased the digital divide among the genders. Then also digital divide goes beyond connectivity and access to device. It has limited these girls to be able to venture into the technological field. It has questioned their ambition and wanting to be in this field. I would say effort has been made to address this, but women and girls still face barriers in digital training, experiences, careers, and opportunities, and which is basically they suffer this basically due to their gender stereotype. That's just it.
Right. So we say that for girls to really thrive, there's a whole lot more of work to be done. Given that, especially I think with the cultural background, our society, and the way that the girl child has really been tagged, there's a whole lot to be done. Yes, I quite agree with you, but also given the we know that education is going online now and all of those, and you mentioned that beyond just having the device and internet, that there's more to for them to be well positioned. Could you just like shed more insight into that?
Okay. Gender stereotype beyond having access to technology. I heard you said you had a mobile device um, in your first year in school. In my own case, I had it when I was in just one. So sometimes it has to do with mindset. It's mindset of people that grew up. In some homes, it's not the children, the girls basically are not allowed to be able to have access to technology. It's in most homes, probably they bought the phone for a boy and said no, the girl shouldn't have access to digital device. So the mindset of society, and then I wouldn't say poverty is part of it, but mindset generally is what has limited girls from having access to technology and digital world.
Right, right. So the mindset of the people is also another challenge. I see. Thank you very much. Okay. Another thing that really bothers my mind is could we say that the girl child is well supported in STEM related activities, or say STEM related fields? Can we say that there's so much of support that's been given to the girl child?
I wouldn't say there's no support, but the support is almost close to nothing. Because if we look at the statistics globally, the percentage of women and girls in STEM fields are like 33%. Then that's globally, but in Africa it's 27%. And then these figures clearly show them that the girl child lacks support in venturing into STEM fields. They are not encouraged to be part of STEM activities. I can imagine while growing up, and then you say you want to be an engineer. The first thing you be like, oh, you want to be an engineer? You're a girl. You're supposed to be something else. And so
Right.
that has there is literally no support, gender stereotypes, and again, societal mindset has taught the girls at a younger age because we are mindsets and when what we who we are, it's formed at at a very tender age. So it has in a way shaped the mindset of younger girls that STEM fields are option for men. So this has pushed the girls to explore other fields which are not STEM related. Growing up, I think if you tell me I wasn't interested in anything STEM, but I ended up being in the science field, but I science was where most of the girls were. You would rarely see a girl engineering in being an architecture. The mindset are is changing, but it's slowly changing, and we want it to be faster because the digital world is it continues. If without the input or and participation of women and girls, we are at risk of being left further behind. So what we need to do is, I think, with supporting the girls' involvement in STEM should start from our homes, our communities, and schools because these are the places and the people who play a major role in upbringing and shaping the mindset of these girls. So that's what we need to do. We need to start shaping their mindset. We need to start telling them, okay, you are equal to a guy. You can be an engineer. You can be a pilot. You can even be a mechanic.
Right. So the first thing to do is just to have a mindset shift. That's very key. So helping the girl child and supporting them, and then once that is done, then we can begin to chip in one or two things into their curriculum, their academic curriculum, even in homes, just and all of those. Do you have any related programs or activities you do related to that's related to STEM?
Yeah, definitely. We at Film Foundation, we have a project we started this year. It was it was a privilege for it to be launched by the Vice President's wife of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mrs. Dolapo Sibanjo. It's called Her STEM, but it's mainly centered on women and girls with disabilities. It's creating opportunities and also creating a space for women and girls with disabilities to learn technological and technical skills.
Okay, I
So,
think. Okay.
okay, you lost me. Do I start or I think you lost me at some point.
Okay. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Can you
So
hear
I
me?
said at Film Foundation, I can hear you now. I can hear you. Okay, so at Film Foundation, we have a project called the STEM Initiative. It was launched this year, April, by Mrs. Dolapo Sibanjo. So it's a platform to create space and opportunities for women and girls with disability, considering the fact that which we have a very low number of women and girls in STEM fields, then those with disabilities are barely it's a very insignificant number. It's little to nothing. So that avenue is it's mainly focused on women and girls with disability, teaching them STEM field. So over the past 5 months, we've taught them how to be able to operate a computer. You'll be shocked that somebody can't even put a computer on and shut it down. Like you just slamp it and close it. So they've been able to learn how to operate a computer, how to type, and we've gone as far as teaching them how to do graphic designs and even code simple websites that they could use for businesses.
Mm. Wow. So do you have a team of people that come on to train them, or you have to source this training from outside, or how do you do this?
Okay,
Because I'm sure
yes,
some people are wondering, okay, how do you get this done? Just in case they also
we
want to get this done, how can
be
you get
interested.
something like this done? Just to
We actually have a pool of volunteers, people in the STEM related fields, and also people who are specialized in people with special needs, because this kind of program is something you need a sign language interpreter, you will need somebody who can be able to help somebody on wheelchair, help them move around, help them pass stuff. So we have volunteers who are in STEM related field and also in not in STEM related field. So what they do, those in the STEM related fields, they are probably people who are, have expertise in different STEM fields. So like I said, there's coding, there's programming, there's graphic design, there's animation, there's the basic use of the Microsoft Office package. So we have people who volunteer their time. It's every Friday from 9 to 2 p.m., from 9 to 1. It's a 4 hours, like an intensive class. Every participant is privileged to have a laptop or a desktop to ourselves. And I would like to say that the project is in partnership with the Swiss Embassy in Nigeria and also the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. So they for a and it's also a curriculum based program, so it has a system in which we're going through. So for this month we introduce them to coding, the next month we introduce them to animation, the next month we introduce them to graphic design, so it exposes their mind, it expands their horizon, and then anyone in which we're interested in, you can now further develop yourself in it, because we also have intentions of having advanced classes. We don't just want to introduce you to something and just dump you by the roadside. It's possible you don't have access to a computer at home. So we also still have to also be able we have to put that factor in place and think of how we can also provide an advanced class in which we are planning now in a place where they could have access to and come and further their knowledge and the skills in
okay.
which they have learned.
Okay, I think that's really great for sustainability of a program. It's very important that you also do the
Yeah,
follow up after the training and all of that. I think that's very very interesting to know. Okay,
sure.
what would you think the role of stakeholders would be, in ensuring that we have a sustainable digital platform for the girl child? Because you know that some of this we have a lot of programs that is targeted at the girl child, and then afterwards it just fizzles out. And then we are looking at, okay, how sustainable can some of this program and projects go in such a way that it would affect and keep affecting the lives of generations and generations of the girl child. So what do you think that the role of stakeholders should be? What should they be doing to ensure that these platforms and these programs, they keep being sustainable?
Mm, I think as organizations and non-profits who are into the field of promoting girls in STEM, there's little we could do without.
Okay, I think okay, we are back. We are back in, and our discussion for today, space. How can we ensure that the girls are more inclusive? How can we ensure that women are more inclusive in this digital era, given the fact that they are the least advantaged? They are least advantaged. I mean, they're at a less advantage and less privileged compared to the other gender. And so our first session we had Fame Foundation, and we're going to be having them on again and in this session. And so we'll be having Fame Foundation to join this second session. Okay. Okay, a bit of a background again. We started celebrating the girl child since 2012, and we've continued to keep the conversation going. And the theme for this year again is digital generation, her generation. We are looking at how to ensure that more girls are included. More girls can have access to internet, can have access to digital tools, can have access to literacy, digital literacy as well. And also ensure that we speak up to make sure that girls around the world can gain access to digital facilities as well. Okay, good to have you back, Anna. Sorry about the internet glitch. Yeah, great to have you back. No, that's fine. Great to have you back. So I was just giving a brief overview of what we've been discussing so far and why we are having this conversation. And so we'll just move right on to something else, just because of the time. I was asking you a question about the role stakeholders can play in ensuring that we build a sustainable digital platform for the girl child. And so some of these programs that a lot of organizations are doing are not just a startup and then it just goes off. How can we keep this sustainable? How can we keep these things going? How can we keep these conversations going? How can we keep this project active? How can we ensure that we keep empowering the girl child, empowering the women? And so that was the question we got locked up. So we are just going to keep up with the conversation right now. So are you ready to?
I'm ready. First, let me apologize for network issues, Nigeria. Okay, so as stakeholders, stakeholders play a very major role in ensuring that girls reap part of the benefit of the technological revolution that every part of the world is experiencing, and also lives of every human being is being reshaped by it. If that is not done, we are at the risks of being left behind, and then there's a further increase gender digital gap between the men and the women. Sorry. So the first thing stakeholders need to do is educate girls equally. That's the first step towards improving women and girls' access to technological and digital space, to push technological education, and then actively support and promote girls' participation in STEM-related subjects. Government and families, communities, and organizations, we all form the stakeholders. So we must challenge the stereotypes that prevent girls from studying those courses and pursuing careers in these sectors. The second thing that needs to also be done is provision of mentorship. By providing role models and mentors for girls in those fields, they can grow up knowing that and believing that gender should not be a barrier to anything they want to become in life, regardless of what field. And also, one thing that also prevents girls and women from venturing into those fields is sort of the digital environment is sort of unsafe for them. Because it is mainly dominated by men, girls tend to feel unsafe involving themselves in those areas and involving themselves in those sectors and activities. So we stakeholders have to ensure that the digital environment and fields are safe for them. The last thing I would say stakeholders need to do is to also empower girls and women to create digital technology. It's one thing to use and be a consumer of those technology, but it's another thing to recognize that they can also be creators and developers of those technologies too. Hence, we need to promote their participation as creators and developers, sorry, of technologies.
Yeah, really. I picked something from what you said, and my thoughts are just that how can we make this learning more interesting? The girl child, usually we want something that inspire that is interesting to us. We want something that makes us, laugh and all of those. So how can we make these activities that look techy, that look just for the men, more interesting for the girl child, so that we can have more of them, get on and know that, okay, this is quite interesting, and see how do you think we could have
I
things like that?
I think technology in itself is a very interesting field, like
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what way. Because when you see how things are done, like imagine you coding and you just put codes and numbers and figures and symbols, and it turns into an extremely beautiful website, a
Right.
beautiful graphic. So in technology in itself, STEM is an interesting field and it's ever evolving and getting better by the day. It's just the mindset girls grew up with. They feel engineering is a lot of maths, a lot of calculation, it's a lot of technical stress. So first is telling the girls they could actually do it and making them see that it's an interesting field, because guys can they pick up interest in it, because and then we push the girls to doing basic stuff like, okay, girl is good at home economics, she's good at art and craft. It ends up now in the long run it becomes like, okay, that's the interesting field for her. So when from the beginning we've told her that, okay, engineering is good, mathematics is interesting, this code is a very interesting experience to do, and changing things into better changing code numbers into a better looking website and this. So when we need to first tell them that it's just that way they are girls at a little age, you can shape their mindset. Just teach them it's interesting, show them it's interesting, and
Right.
they would see it as an interesting thing to be in.
Mm. Right, that's very interesting. And I think one of the things we could also do also, especially for ones that are being trained in schools, the visuals is also very important. Making them see what it looks like, then they do not just the visuals, and then allowing them to try their hands on one or two things. And then when this, when you do something, you try something out, and you find out that it's quite interesting, you find out that you can do it. It just triggers youth to want to do more. That's quite interesting. Thank you very much. Just to add a bit of background to that, does Film Foundation in any way do one or two things to ensure that there's a sustainability in your programs for the girl child?
Mm, all when we design projects in film, we always have sustainability at the back of our mind. We don't want something we just do 1 or 3 months and then we keep it, or something we just want for a year and then that's all. There's always sustainability, at least 3 years, and by that time we've made a certain degree of impact. We know we can't do much, but the little we can do, we should ensure we sustain it and it creates as much impact as we can. So for our STEM program, it's a 6 month course. It's not the everyday 3 days computer class, come and learn computer for 3 days and that's all. But it's something we engage you. You have to practicalize it. So the girls are always interested to come to class because they know, okay, I'm not just going to be told this how you do, but I'll also be able to practice it on my own, see my results, see the mistakes that I make, and I'll be guided on how to make it better. So this is a 6 month program. After that, it's like we call it a cohort. It's a cohort. Then the next, when we are certain that, okay, this batch of people have learned these skills to an extent, we move to the next cohort, and then we are intending of getting our own space. So we know that, okay, this is ours, and then girls could always come, even those who are past graduates from the training can come and also continue learning to get better at what they're doing. So they can also teach the new ones and also act as role models to those ones to see that, okay, well, I was able to do this. This is how it has affected my life. This is how it has impacted me. So it also encourage the new batch to be also to be able to do it. So it creates it. It's not like a chain, and then they have a network of themselves. You know, as, okay, we are her STEM participants. I'm a beneficiary of this, and it creates a chain of impact on them, because the girls you teach today, maybe they would also see someone, and then they can also teach somebody. That's making it sustainable.
Right, right. Very well. Thank you very much. While you spoke, you mentioned the importance of mentorship as well. And what just kept coming in my head is how to engage even the youth. There are a lot of youth out there. We have a lot of youth that are inspiring people and all of this. So how about developing mentorship programs just to be able to enable the people that have gone ahead and then just bring them into training these young ones as well and all of those? Is there any program or such that you have at Film Foundation? Do you have like a
Yeah,
mentoring program?
recently we launched another of our program, or should I say project. It's called the Sister Me project. We prepare it to be sister me instead of the ideal mentorship program. When it's sister me, it becomes more personal to you. So in this project, the aim is to for interested young girls who are interested in fields. This is not just limited to some fields; it could be other fields, another career. So we are trying to source for more mentors. We have people already who are interested in mentoring younger girls. So we're still sourcing for more mentors. So this is another benefit too. If you're interested in mentoring a girl child, please you can contact us also. So we already have a pool of mentors, and we still want more. The more we have, the more girls get to be impacted. So these girls on your training field, like we need to know, okay, what do you want to be in the future? Say a girl wants to be a doctor. We can't go and pair up with an engineer mentor. It's not possible. So if you want to be a doctor, in our pool of mentors already is a doctor. So we pair you together, and she's always there to guide you. This is what you should do. You can confide in her. That's why it's called a sister me. She's like a big sister to me. So you can
Okay.
confide in her. She can share experiences with you. So you're able to be able to achieve better results and faster than she has.
I think that's quite interesting, and more safe to have a mentor who is also a female and not a man for safety reason. I
Yeah.
think that's quite interesting to know. Just while we try to round off the session, do you have like a call to have more girls, more women in the digital space? We need to ensure that um, we make things attractive to them. We make things interesting to them to make sure that and once that is done, that helps them to be able to understand, oh, this thing is quite interesting. It's not as technical as I thought it was. This thing I can do it, when once you allow them to try a bit, and then they see that, oh, I can do it. It's much more how do I put it now? It's much more cool for them to know that, oh, I can do this thing, and then they want to pursue. And so, oh, we lost you for a bit. Welcome back. And I was just trying to give a bit of explanation into a question we had. The question was simply that how do we bridge the current digital divide and bring more girls into STEM? And I was just explaining how it's very important to pick their interest, make it attractive to the girl child. And another thing that I'm going to be extracting from what he said earlier is mentorship. Once a girl child have a mentor that she can look up to, that could guide her into in the digital space, it's much more easy for her to be able to pull through. And so I don't know if you want to add one or two more to answer that question.
I think how do we involve, if I get the question, if I got the question right, is how to involve girls in STEM, right? In technological fields.
How do we bridge the gap and bring more girls into STEM? Yes.
How do you bridge the gap? It's by treating girls equally. The summary is treating girls equally. If you give girls access to and opportunities in those fields as much as you give the guys, you'll be able to bridge the gap and reduce it to a very large extent. So if you're teaching a guy how to use a computer at age 1, teach a girl how to use a computer at age 1 too. And let's continue at that phase. And they would be at the same level. And the gap we have, the existing gender gap we have, will be bridged, and it will become it will be smaller than it used to be.
Right, thank you. Okay, what's your call to action for stakeholders, for the community, for individuals? What's your call to action while we're on this session off?
Oh, I would say my first call to action to homes is to change the mindset our parents first have on girls being in STEM fields. I can imagine if growing up, I told my mom I was going to become a mechanic. The kind of look she's going to give me is going to instantly change my mind. So the first parents have to first change their mindset, and they need to be enlightened that okay, oh, my girl can do this. The same thing this boy can do. My girl can be able to do this. So if, parents should the mindset of parents should be changed, because when they do, they're able to allow girls to explore the field of STEM. And for communities to be supportive, because if parents' mindset are changed and then the communities are not supportive, then the little change we're going to see. And also stakeholders have to provide, my call is for them to provide opportunities, equal opportunities and space for girls to be able to venture into STEM-related fields and be involved in STEM activities.
Right, thank you very much. That was a great call. While we round up this session, I would like to bring it again. This year, we are calling for equal access to the internet, equal access to digital services for the girl child, and we're also calling for equal access to investment that are targeted to facilitate opportunities for the girl child. That is very important. Investment should be channeled towards ensuring that the girl child is well equipped, is well trained in the digital era. Thank you very much. It was great having you in this session, Ms. Anna. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for joining. We really appreciate your time, and we look forward to having you in the evening session. We have a session by 7 p.m. as well with Ashdam. We are going to be having the Queen of Solar. We decided to have a double perspective to this, to understand from the developmental perspective, and that's why we had Fame Foundation on the call. And in the evening by 7 p.m. we'll also be having a conversation from the technical perspective as well. We'll be hearing from the Solar Queen herself and also engaging her. So thank you very much again. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Ms. Hannah. And we'll see you again by 7 p.m. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.